Hi, you're with Scott. It's battery exhausted, my vlog. This is your... It's midnight. It's always midnight. This is your right ear, this is your left ear. As you can see, the sun is shining a good one. And the other day, I showed you... The other day I showed you this lens, which you haven't been looking at me through, and there's a splinter in my t-shirt. Yeah. The other day I showed you this lens and this magnifying macro magnifying thing that screws on the front. So I thought, as it's sunny, let's just go in the garden, and what I'll do is I'll put the nice lens on and you can look at the garden close up through the nice lens, and we'll do before and after shots with the macro and see if we can get some nice interesting shots of things in the garden with this, with and without. Just to show you what I was talking about, really. And if you didn't see the video when I was talking about it, why don't you just go and watch the video? Don't make me explain it again. Well, actually, this is a Nikon DX 35mm lens with an adapter. I'm going to use it on the APS-C crop, so it's going to change it to about a 50mm. And it's not an expensive lens, but it gives a nice sharp picture, which is what I was talking about the other day. And this macro lens thing that just screws onto it is cheap from China. It's probably only cost me about, I don't know, it's got a name, LINXJAM high definition 10K macro lens thing. It came cheap, probably under a tenner. Let's do this.
I don't know what we're going to do about sound. I'll just leave the microphone on and see if me talking while I do it is any good, or we might have to have some music, or you might just enjoy the sound of the garden and the quiet and me shuffling around and banging on the tripod. I don't know.
So first of all, what I thought I'd do is I haven't moved the camera at all. Maybe it's just moved from left to right slightly when I put the new lens on, but now this is the portrait lens, and you can see the difference. It's probably not as wide enough angle to get my head in without me moving the camera, but it makes a different look on the shot. I haven't got the iris all the way open, so we're not getting that depth of field bokeh that it can give us. It's a prime lens. But yeah, just so you can see the difference.
And now if I screw this bad boy on the front, everything's out of focus.
And the reason everything's out of focus is because you need to be up really, really close to get in focus. I don't know which, because I can't see.
You need to be up really, really close to get in focus. Oh, I'm advertising a fucking thing. Nice of this company to make a cycle pouch that was good to hold my lens in, but you know, I don't like to advertise any particular companies on my channel. Let's get something else to bring into focus. There you go, you have to be that close, you see. And it looks like it's shaking a lot because my hand isn't particularly steady, but up close it enhances that, it makes it look even shakier. You can see all the little tiny movements more. So let's go outside into the sunny garden, and it will really help that it's sunny, because when you put this on the front and you get really close, it's a lot darker right up here. So macro photography, it's always good to use a nice bright light. While I'm not doing that, I'm just going to use the sun and the A7S. So this is the stem of a banana tree. Just wobbling my hands on the tripod there. This is me moving it really smoothly. It's not a proper tripod with a fluid head though, so that's me shaking it. See if I can get a nice smooth move. I'm doing this all with the £5 tripod from the tip. bad, is it? And this is just with the lens, no macro, screw on bit. There you go. See, with the prime lens now, if I want to get it in focus, or sorry, not in focus, it's in focus. If I want to get it in frame, then I'm going to have to move back further away. So that's one of the limitations. It's not a zoom lens. That completely changes the look, doesn't it? Because you've got a table in the way and all sorts. Now let's screw on. Oh, very cheap and cheerful. 10 times zoom. Macro. It's just a magnifying glass, it's just one bit of lens. So that's the zoom with the macro. It's nice, isn't it? Won't be able to get a similarly smooth slidey shot. You see how the movement looks intense this close up. I'm pretty sure you could make some really interesting stuff out of macro videography. Now I'm staying still here, but that leaf's moving in the wind, and each tiny movement is amplified by being so close up. Nice, huh? A piece of glass that just cost, what, £10 maximum off the internet can transform something. I showed you those jewellery shots, didn't I, before? In those shots I created a landscape. In the jewellery shots I created a landscape with just household items arranged carefully out of focus, and the way the lens transformed them and the way you view it, I don't know, there's something magic about it, because the jewellery obviously is small, but when you place it in that landscape and photograph it very close up, it makes the jewellery look big and creates the setting as, you know, your mind sees it as a landscape rather than something very small, very close up. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. There you go, a bit of cactus with this lens at a range of about 30 centimetres. Yeah, I'm about a foot away from that cactus. It's alright, isn't it? You'd have to get all the way back here. Let's get it one shot. £10 to make a glass off the internet. It's a static shot, just like that. Whilst it's kind of interesting because it's close up, it's transformed with just this. Let's do it smoothly. With just this bit of movement, yeah. This is handheld. Check this out for a top tip when you're shooting macro. See this up close in the background? There's all that other stuff out of focus, yeah? Just a little bit of a movement can dramatically change what's in the background, and therefore change the shot. Obviously not the best example. Let's take this off so you can see what you're looking at. I love textures. Look at that for a nice shot. It's not like there's anything happening in that shot, it's just different texture. It's the same texture repeated in the background. Oh, it's good, isn't it? It's nice. And this pulling of focus, this racking focus thing, I'm not doing it on a... I haven't got anything on the camera to stabilise it while I focus it, so it's just my hand shaking it. That's what the prime lens does. Let's screw on the glass. In this shot, what I'm doing is I'm just playing with the light that's coming in from the side, just with my hand. And that's making the shot look a bit more interesting, even though it's static. Pro film school. I feel a shot like that could really benefit from some orchestral music. Now this is how they used to do the special effects of spaceships and stuff. The old sci-fi. Just build it small, shoot it close up. Still doesn't look special particularly. And everyone's seen grass, so they're not going to be excited by that. So let's stick this on. Just say it one more time. About how cheap it was. About how it's not a proper macro lens. There's your grass. Still looking good. See how shot composition changes when you get really close up, it's lovely. And that little movement, just to there, gives you an entirely new background. When you're really close up, little movements like that really change the shot. That's another reason I love macro photography. It's got some tips. That looks sweet as pie. If only I could hold the fucking thing still. One of the things that I've said before somewhere is that the world's so amazing because the further out you get, the more interesting things look. You know, like if you really zoom out, look at that, oh I'm getting some nice light there, look at that. You like that. If only I'd got it all in focus. Do the light. So the more you zoom out, lens flare that is, the more you zoom out, the further away you go, the more beautiful life looks from out there in space. Or if you can zoom out further and see things as galaxies. The opposite's true as well. The closer in you get, the more beautiful it gets. If you could see things as molecules, atoms, we're pretty lucky to be able to have our unique perspective, I guess.
Okay, so we're back in the house, and that little piece of glass for under £10, whatever, you know, you find it on the internet, that's improved our photography tenfold. Well, to a degree, hasn't it? It's given us a new range, a different... Oh, the cat's got a bird. So this little piece of glass has increased the range of our photography. It's given us a new perspective, hasn't it? It allows us to take some really different photographs, and in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think that's a really great addition to the kit bag. I think I haven't got a drone. It's weird, right? Okay, hello vloggers. But just by putting on this prime lens and by setting up my shot a bit, which I haven't set it up much, I'm just stood against a white wall with the sun coming in, but you know, and I can't see it. I'm just looking at the camera, but immediately I feel more like on show, presentery. So I'm going to try and just shake this off and just be myself. I might have to just put the other lens back on. Hang on. I'm not Mr. Film Guy. This is just like introduction, beginners, you know, little tips and things that I've learned at this point in my... We talked about that in another video, haven't we? So this little piece of glass, I think it's increased my range. It means I can photograph different stuff, close-up stuff. I'm already getting a little bit excited about vlogging about this, so I'm going to do that. You know, I'm going to show you some other stuff that I do with it, making a little background like I did with the jewellery shot, stuff like that. Is it going to happen in this vlog? I don't know. But what I thought was a good idea was I could, you know how other people have got drones and their vlog features the drones. Obviously I'm thinking about my friend Matt, because, hi Matt, watch his vlog, it's pretty cool. He's a decent chap, he's my good friend from college, and although I made a vlog about that style of Casey Neistat vlogging and how I'm not like that, you know, fair play and equal respect to all the people who are like that, whatever, okay? What am I saying? I'm saying that he's got drone shots in his vlog, and it's like, okay, let's get a bit vloggy on this. And if you're already bored of me speaking, then skip on. Use the track list that I've put in the comments, so you can skip on to, you know, other stuff. What I'll be talking about is this, and it's not a skateboard, right? So it's an editorial choice to use the drone. It creates a certain look, you know, like repeating something editorially. Matt's vlogs are daily, like mine. Mine aren't quite daily, but they're daily. So by having something consistent in the vlog, it creates a style or a look, doesn't it? Animal house now, the dog wants to go out. Okay. I nearly put that in my back pocket and I'd sat on that. What technology has allowed us to do in recent times is really interesting, specifically in filmmaking or camera photography, because maybe 50 years ago you wouldn't have had access to the professional level kit, so you wouldn't have been able to make professional level product. But now everyone has got access to professional level kit, at least what was professional like 50 years ago, at least 20 years ago. I mean, 20 years ago there wasn't HD, was there? Like, that wasn't really a thing. And now everything's HD, including your phone. I've sort of said this before. So, as filmmakers or as citizens, we've now got access to the means of production. And that's in media specifically, yeah? But these terms that I'm using are actually old Marxist terms. So don't paint me as like some red socialist, because I think that socialism did fail and that we can do better. And, you know, I'm not a capitalist. I think we can move forward and get some better ideas about how to construct our society. But what I'm saying is that a socialist perspective is that the capitalist elite own the means of production, and therefore they use that to keep themselves in charge and keep you down. And that's like Rupert Murdoch and his press elite, isn't it? It's like all the people with the big businesses like Pepsi, and they put their messages through marketing and advertising, and it keeps you distracted from the real issues. It's like everyone in our country at the moment is cross about immigration, when the rich people in our society bailed out the bankers and they stayed rich and got lots of bonuses while we all suffered through a recession. And and yet people are cross about other poor people who, you know, need some support, which is kind of mad, you know, considering that there are victims in society and there are people who have caused these problems. Anyway, let's not get too political. We're talking about camera stuff, aren't we? So the point is that now it's like a golden time. It's like a wonderful. Nathan, in bed. Please do it for me. Lie down. Stay. Okay. It's like a wonderful golden age where we've now got the ability to transmit messages as people, and the platform to transmit them on the internet. So it is happening, you know, social justice. Could you imagine how the equality movement or gender equality or race equality would have been, could you imagine how that would have happened in an age of Twitter and cameras and mobile phones, how it is happening now in an age of Twitter and camera phones? So it's really important that we, the people, use these means of production to transmit the messages that are important both to us and society, and not just rely on the social elites, the political elites, the ruling classes, those we in control of, the media, the companies, the advertising budgets, and not allow them to dictate what's important to us in our lives. And this is why this is such a golden age, because we've got that opportunity. So vlogs like this, you know, they're a little part of that, aren't they? Me and Matt made a documentary about Eddie Hall, Britain's Strongest Man, and in documentary, Cinema Verite, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but you're not just an objective fly on the wall, or you could be that, you could not edit any footage and just record for 5 hours, but what you actually do is you tell a story, a narrative, through the reality, and to be honest, like sometimes you don't construct the reality, but you might say, can you sit over there instead of there because the light's better, or can you come through that door again, we didn't get a shot of that, you know, little things like that. But it's not pure reality, is it? And the person being filmed knows they're on camera, and that changes things as well. So that's really interesting. Other things, me in another video. But we made a documentary and we showed some truth of life and told a story. And that story was not dictated to us by some big company with a product to sell or a motive, you know, for whatever reason. It was our choices. You know, me and Matt sat in the car for hours talking about those sorts of things, the choices that needed to be made in telling the story. Ultimately, it was Matt's decision on how to do things, and it was his vision on how to, you know, what he was looking for to make the film. And, you know, I'm going to applaud him here on the internet for doing that. It was a really great thing. I think regardless of financial success, it in itself is a massive success, because we achieved what we set out to do, which was to tell the story, the truth, and to create this structured narrative that drives it along. So if you haven't seen the Eddie Strongman film, check it out. I think you can get it on the internet. I think you can either download it or watch it on DVD or watch it online or whatever. Anyway, we the people have got the power to tell the stories. Right, that was a big point I wanted to make, a big ramble I went on. And there's another thing. I was talking about the drone shots and how they fit into Matt's work editorially. Now, he's got more, I don't want to say it like that, that sounds weird. He's got more money than me. He's worked in the film industry a lot longer than I have and has been more successful. And he's, over the time he's been producing film, which has been since university, I guess, maybe before that, maybe since college. I was at college on a media course with him. He's been adding to and increasing his range of tools, and some of the camera gear that you'll see on his vlog, obviously the gimbal, like £2 grand, The drone, I don't know how much they are, like £600. I think his probably is in the region of £1,000 probably. I don't know. His FS whatever camera, all that high-end kit. You know, we're looking at tens of thousands of pounds. And I'm really lucky because I've got a camera that is maybe it's what, about £1,000, probably less than that to retail now, and a fairly decent lens or two. And at my end, you know, I'm not in that tens of thousands of pounds budget area, and I'd like to get, I mean, I want those tools. I need to get to that because it allows me to tell these stories and to make more documentaries, you know, and things like that. Anyway, we still have access at this end with £1,000, with £50, with a mobile phone, with a tripod you get from the tip, with a piece of glass that costs £10 off the internet. We've still got access to the means of production for some high grade material, and if you can work this at this end and get high grade material out of it, okay, there's maybe a limit where someone's going to say, you know, it doesn't look exactly like Hollywood. There is a limit, and at the high end, those working with the high end gear will be able to spot the difference in the low end alternatives, I guess. Oh, mate, T's going in there. That's all right, you're a good boy. You can go in there. That's fine. It's good. Yeah, of course. But at the other end of the scale, you know, on YouTube and on even television nowadays, I mean, in TV shows now, GoPro footage is a norm. They use a lot of GoPro shots, and so you can get a GoPro or equivalent for maybe less than £100. And for that money, okay, you might not want to shoot everything with it, but you've got access to these things, you see what I'm saying? And at this end of the scale, it's comparable quality to what people are used to seeing. You might not go and shoot Lord of the Rings on a £50 camera, but it doesn't preclude you from making decent media. See what I'm saying? Okay. So that said, for £10, we've got a different, going back to what we were talking about, for £10 we've got a different thing we can do. We can go in really close, and it creates an opportunity for us to design new shots. If you were shooting jewellery or some food photography, it's like a real massive bonus to be able to just quickly screw that on and say, gonna get a nice shot of that like that. Yes, there's issues with lights and all that, you know, and lighting is a massive part of photography, but Scott's top tip, let's improve our photography for £10, which is going to be the title of this video. There's a top tip. And I don't know, you know, I paid about a tenner for that, so you might end up buying a slightly more expensive or a slightly cheaper bit of glass to screw on the front of your camera. Make sure you get the right size to screw on your lens, yeah? But that's about how much it's going to cost. I don't have a drone, that's where I got started on all this, yeah? Well, I'm going to get a drone, they're coming down in price. My ability to earn money through filmmaking is increasing. It would be an important part of kit to increase my quality of product, therefore the price I can charge for my filmmaking product. So, you know, going to get a drone at some point. Pretty much every pro-am, pro, whatever you'd call it, professional, aren't I? I'm doing it for a living. I just don't make much money. Whatever kind of filmmaker you are, you're going to want a drone at some point, aren't you? So I'm going to get one, but I'm going to wait for the cheaper ones to come out. I haven't got the money, it's not my priority at the moment. So I was thinking, it does look really nice in Matt's vlog, the way it's punctuated with this drone footage, and you get these different views, different perspectives, which I'd love to get of certain places, you know, the way he was creating shots. And when I was looking at the garden, we were looking at the patterns on that chair. It's much the same, isn't it? It's contrasting patterns, it's a different perspective. So I kind of just thought in the garden then, why don't I include some macro in my vlog from time to time? So if you like that idea, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. I don't care, because I'm gonna do it. But maybe it could punctuate my vlog a little bit with these nice little gentle moments of close-up something or other. Let's see if that happens, eh? Don't make promises you can't keep. But yeah, so what's this, I hear you cry? Is it a shit skateboard? No. This is about 60 quid's worth of slider, and again, we're at the low end of the scale. We're at the cheap and cheerful end. Wheels make you look like a Burke. fine. You can unscrew that and take them off. But what this is going to allow me to do, this and this bad boy, which is one of those things that it's like a ball and socket, and it allows your camera to tilt and twizzle at different angles. I didn't get that off the internet even, I got that from the tip shop. It was already screwed on the tripod, bonus. So that was included with the £5 tripod. But you'll pick one of those up from somewhere cheap, won't you? Or off the internet. So that goes on there, and it's a camera slider. So what that allows you to do is your camera will slide along really smooth, like that. It's fairly smooth, this slider, you know, it does the job. Fair enough, it's cheap and cheerful. But the wheels allow you to get another shot, don't they? It's like a dolly. It allows you to roll your camera past something. Of course, your camera's going to be down there on the ground. But that's the cool thing, isn't it, with the macro thing, isn't it? Ah, you see, he's got the lens that looks close up at stuff, and this is going to be low down on the ground. Oh, we're going to start to... I see. I see. Another thing that I've used this for, that it's been really useful for, of course, the slider shot, which elevates your filmmaking instantly. When you take a slider shot of something, like a wedding thing, this, whatever, I'll have to get a slider shot now to show you, won't I? Oh, that means some trawling through some films that I've done.
You can just use any kind of tofu. Nowadays it's easy to find it in shops. Spring onion, cucumbers, and
slider shots look great. The wheels, they don't just allow you to roll it on something. What I've used it for is I've got my camera and I've sort of rolled my wheels along like that, like nice and steady. Sounds stupid, don't I? I've got my camera on it there, like that, and then I just roll it along a surface. And like, it gives me a really nice steady move, instead of like hovering over it with my camera.
Toasted some sesame seeds, Japanese sauce called teriyaki sauce, some avocado.
So if there's food on the table or stuff like that, I know it's not always easy to get your wheels in on a crowded party table, but situations where I can, I've done that and it's looked good. So there you go. Cheap as chips, lots of different shots in your package. But you thought I was going to say in your arsenal, didn't I? It's always good to have lots of different things in your arsenal. When I was a hairdresser, I said that, and my boss at the time, Isaac, great guy, we were both cutting hair, you know, hairdressing salon situation, two ladies having their hair cut, everyone was chatting, it was all going well, nice and pleasant, and it must have been some sort of hairdressing tip or trick that maybe Isaac imparted to me, and he said, there you go, that's another trick, you know, you can put in your book. And I said, it's always good to have different things in your arsenal. And that was it, no one could do anything for about 20 minutes. Hair cutting had to stop, it was funny time. So I was pleased with that, yeah. I suppose I'm not the first person to make an arsenal pun. Shouts out to Max, I did watch his vlog today and he did make an arsenal pun. So, cheeky, aren't I? Copying things off my friend. But Matt's given me loads of great advice about filmmaking, and that's another pro tip. Pro-am. I'm going to say pro-am, aren't I? Because I'm not like, you know, Philip Bloom or whatever, am I? But it's another great tip, is if you know anyone that's into this sort of stuff and is doing it, you know, a bit better than you are or can do, then hang out with them and ask them questions. I mean, that was going to happen to me anyway, because Matt was like one of my best friends since I was at college, because we were friends. So it just so happened that I got into filmmaking again, and he was like, brilliant, this is stuff that I loved, so like, let's do it, which was fantastic. So I'm always really grateful to him. This gives you loads of different shots, brilliant. Gives you the slider, gives you that thing. Let's play with it then. Let's show you some of those shots with the macro and the trolley dolly thing. He said he was going to do it. He said he was going to do macro shots in the vlog every week. Loads of macro. What's the fucking noise? That is shit, isn't it? You have to sit through loads of fucking boring pictures of stuff close up now, are we? Fucking waste of time. What a prick. I hate him.
dokie. So this is just the doorway. You know, there's the garden out there. It looks like nothing, doesn't it? It's just useless. Why am I filming this? So let's just slide along. I'm just pulling away from it on the slider. It looks nice and professional, doesn't it? Even though it's just the bottom of the door. That's what it is. Let's go in the other way. This all relies on my ability to push the slider nice and smoothly and for it to glide along smoothly, which it kind of does. Brill. Fucking lovely. Do you want to see the wheels? We're not on the macro lens, of course. This is just on the prime lens. Now you see that's a bit bobbly, isn't it? Because the floor's a bit bobbly, so it's got its top tip. Try and roll in the same gradient as your floor. Oh, there's the pushcart. Obviously you're going to want to get these level and all that, aren't you? You're going to want to take time over your slidey shots. This is it rolling along. Floor's very rubbly this way. If I put some weight on it, it'd smooth out a bit. But you have got camera stabilisation and you've also got post-production stabilisation. So let's see if that makes a difference. Probably not. Little vinker. And let's do the slider. Much more professional. Still not perfect. And look at how dirty the door is in the sunlight because the dog jumps and comes to the door all the time. It's a slider shot. Looking good, huh? So for 50 quid, being able to do that all the time with whatever you're shooting is pretty handy. She's been good there, posing. This metal bar slider thing will of course screw onto a tripod, so for the £5 tripod I've now got a £50 slider. Nice. Let's do some macro. Now we're just going to do some sliding on the wood floor. And instantly, look at that, you see the sliding is looking jerky almost, isn't it? Because every little movement is amplified by that macro. It still looks pretty cool. Let's just go slowly. Still looks pretty cool, doesn't it? What is that? It's a wood floor. Textures. Of course, what am I thinking of doing? Let's put something in there. Let's put it in there. God, it's massive. That's a little screw thing. It's huge. Need something even smaller than that, don't you? I've got a guitar plectrum. I use the same guitar plectrums as Kurt Cobain. Look how massive it looks. How massive it looks. Let's do the slide. Sorry about the mic sounds. Still on toy camera mode, aren't I? So I'm still getting that vignetting and stuff, but check me. How to improve your photography if you're a dumb like me. I'm not dumb, I'm quite smart to be fair. Like Italians know you're smart. Slider shot. Okay, this is a bit jerky though, isn't it? So, Scott's top tip, you can take your shot and just put it slow motion, it will smooth it out. Let's have a look at that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop and start the camera and switch my camera to a higher frame rate so that when I slow it down it's still 25 frames a second, so I'm going to put it at 100 frames a second, and then when I slow it down it'll look just as smooth and not as like mobile phone footage still slowed down. You know, it's not real slow motion if it's just recorded at 25 frames and then slowed down, because you're slowing down that frame rate. So this is 100 frames a second, so when I slow it down it'll be nice. We're all familiar with like the slow-mo guys, aren't we? And their cameras can shoot like at some silly thousands and thousands of frames a second. But most modern stuff now, even phones, is able to shoot at a higher frame rate, so you can do proper slow motion. So let's just... There you go. How big is my plectrum? Check this out, because if you're filming any packages, you know, if you film any stuff for any people, check out how text is transformed with the macro lens. It looks well artistic. And that's a £50 slider. This is just a leaflet that I'm just scanning. £50 slider, £10 adapter for your lens. Look at that. Trying to look at some of the people in the pictures. Uh-oh! What's your face? Let me see it. Here it comes. Uh-oh! Just some hands. Got the camera on a bit of an angle, which is giving it that funny depth of field focus as well, with the prime lens, which is nice, isn't it? Quite nice. So I'm not going to do loads more, because otherwise you're just going to see a well boring vlog just full of these slider shots of me mumbling and muttering in the background. But I'm going to do one more, which is a baby picture of me. You'll be surprised. Here we go. Are you ready? This is actually me when I was a baby. There you go. Worth noting, if you want to do the slider shot and you're going to be slowing it down, do it a bit quickly. And then you can slow that one down, it'll be nice and smooth. Try again. Of course, in the edit you can always reverse your slider shots, fast forward them. It's me as a baby, look. And it's looking really nice, isn't it, on that lens with the £10 thing. Do you think that helps improve your videography for £10? I know it's a bit of a cheat, because this camera slider is £50. The lens is an entry-level lens, £100 or so, and then the bit of glass that you screw on the front, about £10, isn't it? Oh yeah, my £5 tripod from the tip shop, and that ball head thing was a bit of a find. Okay, enough a picture of me. What we do now? Hello there. Everything looks so cool, doesn't it though? Doesn't everything look so cool in this? So, what I thought we'd do is, I'm going to include lots of macro stuff in the vlog. Like I said, it's going to be a little punctuation point in the vlog. Just because it's nice, isn't it? Just seeing these things close up, it just kind of feels nice. It's a bit ASMR quality to it. I'll tell you what I'll do. When I do the macro stuff, I'll try my hardest to speak or even whisper. Took the thing away when I whispered then, didn't I? I'll see what I can do about knocking up some ASMR style content for this vlog, including the macro work. But just the macro work in itself will now become part of the vlog. Boom. And I don't even have a professional macro lens, so you know, let's get me one of those and then we'll start to really see some stuff. But what I wanted to show you is one last little tip or trick about this, okay? And that is let's build ourselves, just on the table here, look, let's build ourselves a little set and show you what I mean. So I'm just going to wallop a few things down on the table here. There's a book, nice clean plain surface. It's not clean, probably. Not as immaculate as you'd want for building a new set. These are Xbox games. They're going to look quite a lot like Xbox games in the background. You can see that they are that. So at the moment you can see we've got Xbox games and we've got, like, you know, a book. So that's no good, is it? What's he playing at? That is one of the best Xbox games I've played, actually. I'm not a big, you know, we're going to talk about gaming in another video. And of course, I'm against war in general. But everyone was all hooked on Call of Duty. And Codemasters, British company, Codemasters, they had produced one of the best games in its genre, without doubt. And it's just not the most popular one, you know. Hey ho, that's the way the world works. So, what we're doing, I got distracted. What we're doing is we're setting up this little set to show you something cool. The only other thing I'm going to need is a bit of light. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my light, pressing stop. Now yes, this is a professional video equipment light, but it is, again, we're at the cheap end of the market, you know. This is just a piece of plastic from China.
China, 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 China.
And it's important because when we put the macro thing on, it's going to get dark quick because it won't let in as much light when you're really close up to something. So I've got that stood there, it's going to really illuminate it. Let's pop our little macro thing on. Of course you won't be able to see anything. There's nothing in the little place. Let's put something in the face. Okay. I think that'll do. I did realise when I was getting this set up, the last time I did it, I put it on, I've got trolleys for hairdressing. They're little four-wheeled, square-topped trolleys, and they really make handy film stands. I don't know what you call them. You don't use a trolley in filmmaking often, do you? But with the ASMR work and all sorts of shooting, I quite often put stuff on a trolley. Anyway, putting it on something like that meant that I was able to get my tripod in and around it and shoot it. So this way, the way I've set up on the table was a little bit more difficult because I've had to get my camera in position on the table without a tripod, but I've done it. This object is actually the top of a tube of toothpaste, that sort of thing. It's got one of those pointy bits on it that is used to pierce the tube. And you can see why the light is important. You can use a torch, you don't have to have a video light like that, but it really casts a beautiful light. It's giving us a great look, isn't it? It's really interesting. What is it? Could be anything, couldn't it? And you can play with this format as much as you want. Let's remove the DVDs from, they're not DVDs, they were computer games, weren't they? Let's remove them. The background changes. And then we can change our backgrounds really easily with different colours, with different items. That's another thing. And those items could then be placed in different places relative to the other item. See, it's that photo of me again. But they create different looks, don't they? Depending on where they're placed. I don't have to explain that. Cool, huh? And that is how to create beautiful macro images and improve your photography tenfold for under a tenner. And this setup can be changed. The light can be behind it. You don't have to use a book to put it on. It actually looks really good on a mirror or a reflective surface. Some shiny plastic. Quite enjoying that. See what I like. I'm going to get a nut with just a light. Could be a torch. And a £10 piece of glass. So like I said, I will add some more macro footage. It's not even proper macro, you know, it's not even proper macro. I'll add some more of this into the vlogs, because I don't have a drone. And then one day I'll buy a drone and I'll show you what my house looks like from on top. And like I said, this week as well, vlog time. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to label things by topic. So this video is going to be how to improve your photography for £10. And it's also a bit of vlogging, isn't it? I'm just doing some chatting, like right now. Regular uploads of stuff by topic, and what this would mean is that instead of having a 2-hour video where you don't really know what's going to happen, and the problem with that is that if people are coming to the vlog new, they don't know what to watch, what they'll be interested in, what I'm going to say, and that could be good, you know, comment if you think that's a good thing, but also it just generally, you know, isn't it, to refine this into form a little bit, it would be good to have maybe one video about this, one video about that, one video about the other, and I'm never going to be direct and 3 minutes long to the point. I'm always going to take my time, ramble on. I think that does have to be a feature of the vlog. Vegan power.
Bye.